region which comes in which part of Africa, or it comes in South America. It's a region which comes in North America, or it's a region which comes in northern part of Africa. So it comes in northern part of Africa, Sahel region in that regard. So you can say it is a transition zone between lower you have savanna, okay, upper you have desert. So this region which comes in between, where there is a transition happening from desert to savanna, that we call it as Sahel. Okay. So that is one thing you have to remember regarding Sahel. Which part of the continent will come? It comes in North Africa. Then you have this country called as Sierra Leone. Okay, so you can see it comes here in where western part of Africa. Now why this country is in news? They declared emergency. On what grounds? Because of drug abuse became so much, it is become unsustainable for them. And which drug the people are consuming? There's a synthetic drug called as Kush, Kush, and it is said to be made from human bones in that regard, and it is being highly addictive. And you can say the whole population, it is also called as the zombie drug. Means those who are on these drugs, they behave like zombies in that regard. So that is why the country declared an emergency. Okay, so they asked which African country has declared emergency for drug abuse. It is this country called as Sierra Leone. So you can say they declared national emergency over drug Kush, a psychoactive blend of addictive substances in that regard. So and you can also remember that Senegal is a diamond. It is diamonds are largely found in this particular region. Okay, please remember Sierra Leone, and where it comes, you can say it comes in northwestern part of Africa. Now if you see, there was an issue last year when the German country, they told they are not going to put a ban on this trophies. Trophies means what, the animals what you kill in that regard in Africa, because Africa they allowed hunting. So then Botswana president, he said that we are going to gift 20,000 elephants to Germany, okay, as a retaliation in that regard. So what is happened here in Botswana, because the elephant population is so much in Botswana, one way to curtail the population, they have given license to hunting, and hunting is one of the way, and it's also huge tourist attraction. So many people want to hunt elephants. They go to Botswana where it is made completely legal in that regard. And because Germany, where you have human rights activists or the animal rights activists, they opposed this thing, and that is why Germany told they're going to put a what you can say limitation on how many trophies you can bring in. So now as a retaliation, what Botswana told, because we have no other choice, that only one way to control the population is what? Through hunting. And that's why I told, if you want elephants, we are ready to give you 20,000 elephants in that regard. You can keep it in Germany and you can live with the elephants. So here, being this country, we have to know which elephant population in the world. So remember, Botswana has the highest elephant population in the world in that regard, followed by Zimbabwe, then you have Tanzania, fourth comes India. Okay, you don't need to remember 1, 2, 3, 4. Please remember, India does not come in the top 3. It is which one? Botswana, Zimbabwe and Tanzania. Yeah, African elephants. Okay, but here we are largely not differentiating between African, we are talking elephant, but yeah, there you have African elephants. And if you take with respect to in India, which state has the highest elephants? It is our state, Karnataka, in that regard, followed by Assam and Kerala. But as you see in other subjects, they have asked, like I think in environment 1 year, they have asked about gestation period of the elephants in that regard, that you look into when you read environment or those kind of things. But why this was in news? Because of this reason of between Botswana and Germany in that regard. So please remember, Botswana is a country with the largest number of elephants in the world. Now this is the list of countries, all countries which come under the line of the equator, since we are discussing Africa also. So as you already read in South America, which 3 countries come? Colombia, Ecuador and Brazil. And if you take Africa here, you have Gabon, Sao Tome, Republic of Congo, Uganda, Somalia and Democratic Republic of Congo, which comes under the equator, means equator line passes through these countries. Then you have here Maldives. You can see this also has been in news because of India Maldives bilateral relationship taking a dip because of Maldives closer relation with China in that regard. And you can see India was also promoting Lakshadweep as an alternative tourist destination. So Maldives comes where? Along the line of the equator. Then you have Indonesia, and you have this small highland country called as Kiribati. So these are the countries which lie on the line of the equator. Colombia, Ecuador, Brazil, Sao Tome, Gabon, Republic of Congo, Uganda, Democratic Republic of Congo, Somalia, Kenya, Maldives, Indonesia, and Kiribati. So these are the countries you have to remember. So one of the questions they also asked, which river, it passes the equator twice in that regard. Which river? The Congo River in that regard. Now one more conflict in Africa, it is called as Bakassi conflict in that regard. You can see it is here near the Bakassi Peninsula. So this is a conflict between Nigeria and Cameroon. Please remember, they can ask Bakassi conflict. It is related to which two countries? It's a conflict between Nigeria and Cameroon in that regard. And you can also see here, you can see there is Lake Chad. You can guess it is between Chad and Niger in that regard. It comes in between. So remember, Bakassi conflict between Nigeria and Cameroon. Remaining with conflicts in Africa, you have this Halayab triangle. So where it is, it's a conflict between two. It is conflict between Egypt and Sudan. You can see this is where Halayab triangle. It's a conflict between Egypt and Sudan. And at the same time, you also have to know this Grand Renaissance Dam. Okay, it is also called as what? Millennium Dam. So which country is building this Grand Renaissance Dam? Ethiopia. But who are opposing the construction of this dam? Because they are telling it is going to impact the water flow. The two countries, Egypt and Sudan. So they can ask, Grand Renaissance Dam is a dispute between these two countries, Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia. And where the dam is being constructed? In Ethiopia. Wherever it is being constructed, you can easily guess now. Blue Nile. Blue Nile is Lake Tana, where it gives. It is in Ethiopia. Now if you take in Africa again, that time we read Sahel region. Again you have something called as Maghreb region. So where does it come? Again it comes in North Africa. So one way how you can remember the names here is that, so you have Algeria, Morocco, Mauritania, Libya, Tunisia. Please remember, this Egypt and Sudan are not part of Maghreb region. So which are the countries? You have Mauritania, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and Libya. Please remember, this Egypt which comes next to it, it is not considered to be part of Maghreb region in that regard. And similarly you have, if you take Maghreb region, the top part of the Maghreb region, the boundary is the Atlas mountains in the north, and to the south you have Sahara desert. So this is sandwiched between two, what? Atlas mountains and Sahara desert. And one more thing they can also ask is that the Atlas mountain range, it passes through which countries? Please remember, Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. These are the three countries. Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. Which mountain range? Atlas. And Atlas mountain range comes in which continent? Africa. Andes comes where? South America. Now, if you come into the bit north of it, it is the Mediterranean Sea in that regard. So if you look at the country in the Mediterranean Sea here, so you have what you can say, you have Greece, you have Turkey, you have Syria, you have Lebanon, you have Israel, you have Egypt, you have Libya, Tunisia. So obviously they are not going to ask a question saying that list of names and identify will come. Obviously the trick will be that they will keep something which is not there, which you will have to know, okay, which is not part of the Mediterranean Sea. So here you can see Jordan is not touching the Mediterranean Sea. Jordan is a landlocked name. Or if somebody asks who is there in G77, you cannot remember 77 countries. But trick is there is that you have to know who is not there in G77. Okay. Similarly here, because so many countries are there, just remember which are those countries which do not touch the Mediterranean Sea. And this question has been already asked once. Jordan is the answer because Jordan is a landlocked country. And similarly you have this Sea of Marmara. So you can see here it is Sea of Marmara. So this completely lies in Turkey. Okay, this completely belongs, this region comes where? Turkey. So please remember, Sea of Marmara is a small inland sea which is located completely within the borders of Turkey. Okay, it comes here if you see, Sea of Marmara. Now similarly, you have one more sea called as the Aegean Sea, if you see. So Aegean Sea, it forms, it comes here. It is between Greece and Turkey. So remember, the Aegean Sea, it is between what? Turkey and Greece. It forms the border between Turkey and Greece. Similarly, between Africa and Europe, if we see, there is a strait which separates Africa and Europe, Gibraltar. So actually, strait is a narrow water body connecting two larger water bodies. So for example, which water body? It connects Mediterranean Sea with Atlantic Ocean. In what? Europe and Africa. So please remember the strait because of the recent conflicts which are going on within the region. And please remember which are the countries which comes or bordering the Red Sea. You have Israel, Jordan, Saudi, Yemen, Djibouti, Sudan and Egypt. So if you take Caspian Sea, what you have? Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Iran, Azerbaijan and Russia. So for this you can keep it something like Kitar, Kitar. You know, they shouted like Kitar. Kitar means what? Kazakhstan. I for Iran, T for Turkmenistan, A for Azerbaijan, R for Russia. Or one more thing you can keep it as Tariq. If you want, if you can keep that as a code word to remember. So you form your own code words which will help you to remember things in that regard, because sometimes when you repeatedly read the country's name, you will get confused. So if you keep some kind of short code to it, it will be easier to remember. So Caspian Sea, you can keep it as Tariq or Kitar in that regard. Then you have the Persian Gulf in that regard. Persian Gulf, you have Iran, you have Iraq, you have Kuwait. See here, one thing you do is that remember Gulf Cooperation Council. So what is a code word you can remember for Gulf Cooperation Council? COBUS-Q. Kuwait, Oman, Bahrain, UAE, then you have Qatar and you have Saudi Arabia. So here you have Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE and you have Oman. Additionally you have Iran and Iraq. But Iran and Iraq, please remember, Cooperation Council. Gulf Cooperation Council is a union of these 6 countries, COBUS-Q. Both Iran and Iraq are not part of it. Iran will be not part of it because Iran is a Shia country and this is a group of Sunni countries in that regard. So these are certain things you have to remember. And you can see Bab-el-Mandeb, where it comes? At the end of the Red Sea, the mouth, opening of the mouth of the Red Sea.